with regards to career services, and we're hoping that she can share a lot of her expertise with regards to LinkedIn and making it a strong profile individually for students, and hopefully they can take away some great tips and techniques on that. So with that said, Michelle, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Everyone who wasn't here when I first came on, good morning. Like Gina said, I do have a lot of background in LinkedIn as well as resume writing and career coaching. So as of recent, you guys know we are dealing with COVID-19, and we just have a lot of things on our plate that we didn't have on our plates before. So this workshop is kind of geared to help you see how important it is to really utilize your LinkedIn profile and get it up and running, because we just don't know how this is going to affect the future, right? So what I've done is, like I told Isabel earlier, is made myself a muse for this workshop. So I'm going to share my screen in a second so that you guys could see the PDF that I have prepared for Gina to give to you guys afterward for distribution. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but it is prepared for you guys so that if you miss anything or you have any kind of anything that you want to revisit, you'll be able to go in the PDF and kind of see what's what. So I'll go ahead and share the screen. Let's see. All right. I'll make this a little bigger. There we go. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we
So
can.
this is the workshop. As mentioned here, like I just said, we're going to talk about LinkedIn. We're going to talk about how COVID-19 really has changed things for us and what you should be doing to kind of just don't get left behind pretty much, right? So here's a little bit about me. I have a podcast. I actually work as an accountant by day. I have a bunch of different things in my background that you could probably relate to. I have a bachelor's in accounting and I have an MBA from Roosevelt University. I'm a part of the Professional Resume Writers and Career Coaches Association. And as of recently, I just got a client who got a high-ranking Fortune 500 hire from, it's Kraft Heinz, I believe it was. Kraft Heinz, got hired at Kraft Heinz, increased his salary by $21,000, and it was all during COVID-19. And he was able to successfully kill every single one of his virtual interviews, which is something we're going to touch on a little bit as well, because like we said, COVID-19 has changed things, and it's really different. He has 6 virtual interviews, so this is something that you want to take into consideration when you're going forward with your job search now, right? So I like to talk about job searching overall as a dating process. And I say this because it's pretty much the same thing as you would do when you are setting out to date someone. You want to get to know this person. You want to know as much about them as you can before you actually approach them. You want to do all of your research, check all your sources and references, and make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into before you approach a person or an employer. So I'm just going to ask you guys a quick question, because as I've been building my presence online, I get a lot of spammy messages, a lot of hellos and I can help you do this, I can help you do that. And I just want to ask you guys, like, what's the first thing that you would do if you got one of those types of messages?
I feel that I don't know, I'm sometimes I'm a little gullible. So I would actually like continue and like read all of it. And then, and it sounds great, right? Because that's the point of them, to sound really great and to lure you in. So I feel like I would like buy into it for a little bit, and then I would be like, no, why would this person reach out to me and, try to offer me all this greatness? I don't even know this person. So I feel like that's where I would kind of be at with that.
Okay. Anyone else?
I've personally experienced this as well. I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn And I actually got a job that way as well, that I should have been starting in June, but if the stay-at-home order gets lifted, then hopefully I'll be able to start that position. But I do get a lot of other spammy messages of recruiters trying to add me on LinkedIn and recruit me for some type of job that doesn't necessarily always look legitimate. So I always make sure to look at the website, learn about the company before actually replying back to them.
Okay, and that's an excellent response for us to proceed, because yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. You're gonna click around a little bit before you kind of, get just to see like, who is this? Like, what do you want? You know what I'm saying? So yes, that's definitely what I'm getting at, is that I don't know, like I wouldn't go straight into it. Isabel, I heard you, I get it. Like I do read it. I read it in entirety, but I always click at the top. I want to see who's talking to me, and I want to know, why are you talking to me? Do you have a lot of people who you're connected with? Are you engaged with your community? Who are you? That's really what I'm trying to fill out, right? So with that being said, let's keep going here. We've just talked about this. You know now more than ever that things are different. People are employing different strategies to do different things, and not all of them are, like you said, legitimate. It's really just people trying to fish information from you and take advantage of your vulnerabilities. So here I'm just talking about how the virus has changed things for right now. We have teleworking, we have limited opportunity in certain industries, we have high levels of unemployment. Eliminating traditional job searching is something that's possible and is very well happening right now. And virtual interviewing is a thing. It's not going away anytime soon. So here I just captured a picture for you guys of, and I did this, all of this is up to date, real time. I did this all this morning so that you guys could see a very good, clear picture of what I'm talking about here. This morning, I searched for some accounting positions that were posted in the past month, because this is what I do regularly so that I can properly encourage my audience to continue to apply and really just, look at what's out there and what people are looking for right now, because companies are still hiring, and you don't want to take yourself out of the process because you think that they're not. This is a really great way to really feel yourself in. You could use filters here. This is what I use. I use the filters, put in the accountant for the greater Chicago area. Here I've used the time frame of this past month, and you can see here that there was 1,088 results returned for me. And as you can see, LinkedIn gives you a lot of information that would allow you to position yourself even better during the job search. So right now, strategy matters more than anything. So that's why I'm talking to you guys, so that you can really optimize your LinkedIn profile so that you can give yourself a
Hi.
Uh-oh. Okay, little housekeeping. If you're not speaking, you can mute your microphone so that you don't interrupt or interject when you don't mean to. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of us in the room. So if you could just mute your microphones until, because this is an interactive workshop and I want you guys to ask questions. So whenever you feel the need that you want to speak, you could just unmute and start talking. But if not, just mute your microphone for the time being. Yeah, so back to where we were. Strategy matters. And here, let me move this because I can't see. Strategy matters. So here we're going to talk about what our employer is looking for. As in the dating process, you don't just jump in and go for the axe. You do a little research to determine if the person is really worth going after. So like I told you guys, this recent hire that I got, I was super proud of myself, because people are really starting to count themselves out as the unemployment numbers start to soar. And, it's a bad outlook for most people. Industries are suffering. However, utilizing LinkedIn is what really helped me and my client score this position. we were able to identify a lot of key things that this employer was looking for. And we updated the resume and updated the LinkedIn profile to reflect that he would be a good asset to that company. So here we're talking about what our employers looking for. They want to know who you are. They want to know if you're really interacting on LinkedIn, because that just indicates that you're actually concerned about positioning yourself well for your job search. And then here it says, do you have connections that they can use? Let's pause. Connections are super, super important. Companies are now using a lot of referrals. Referrals are up like by 80% in prior years. Versus now, like now people want to know someone that knows someone. They don't want to just go out blindly looking for people. They would much prefer either to hire internally or to have someone recommend them someone that they should actually work with. So this is something that's super important. Your connections are super important. And then they want to know, do you have content that compels them to reach out to you? Again, like I said, using the Kraft Heinz profile, we were able to really position my client because we knew what they were looking for in an employee up front. We used the job description, we used the type of culture they have, the mission and everything to really make him seem as if he was a great employee and would be great at the job that they were looking to fill. So there's 3 H's that can make or break your profile. And it's the headshot, your headline, and hot topics. That's what I like to call it, because that's what people are going to zoom in on as soon as they look into your profile. So your headshot, which is here, this is your headshot. You want to make sure that it's good. It's a good shot. You don't want anything ugly. You don't want anything that's unappealing, because just like the dating process, you want someone to be like, okay, this person looks interesting, So I always tell people, if you can't get someone to actually take your picture, stand in front of a white wall, just take a selfie, and boom, you have a new headshot. And then your headline, it should represent who you are and where you are in your career advancement journey. So here's my headline, which says branding expert, career coach, consultant, resume writer. And then here, I like to make sure that people do know that I am an accountant. I mean, it is part of my story. So accountant for nonprofit organizations that serves community. That's my background for the most part. So you want to make sure that it properly reflects you and tells people who you are and what you are about. And then the hot topics are your awards, your achievements, and the data regarding to what you have achieved. Your experience section is not a section for you to just repost your resume. If that makes sense. I don't know if has anyone heard of that before, that you're not supposed to just basically copy and paste your resume on LinkedIn? Anyone ever heard that before? Okay, so good. That's something new for you guys to know. It's really good to just add in what makes you stand out at this position that you're currently at. Like, what are you actually doing there that separates you from the rest of the crowd? So the about section, which we're going to get into next, I believe, the about section is where you would give a lot of detail about this stuff. But in your experience section, that's where you're going to put all your hot topics. You want to talk about what makes you great. Like, as simple as put, what makes you great? What makes you stand out? Why did you get hired at this company? Why did they keep you for as long as they kept you? What are you bringing to that company? If you guys see me look over here, I have notes on the side of me. So don't think that, just got a little notes over there. So that's how they evaluate you. They want to know what exactly is up, like what do you have that you can offer them that you offered a previous company. So let's keep going here. All right. Do you have standards? We're sticking to the dating theme, okay, guys? We're sticking to the dating theme. Do you have standards? When you're dating and when you're about to date, or you have dated before, you have a certain criteria of people that you would actually date. These people interest you. This person has to be this tall, or has to have this amount of money, or has to have this type of job. Like, you've already spelled out in your mind what this person looks like to you. Even if they don't come to you in that direct form, this is what you want, okay? So here I said, your LinkedIn profile would allow employers to know the type of employee you are, and ultimately sets the tone for who will feel that they are in the position to reach out to you. So I have here, I'm scrolling. So I have here my actual about section. And this is how I spelled out where I am right now. So I know, like you said earlier, recruiters come into your inbox, and it's a great thing, but at the same time, it's kind of stressful because you don't know exactly who they're representing, or what company they're looking to fill positions for. I've heard horror stories about things like this, where people would actually get into, I think there's a chat. Gina, can you see the chat box? There's a chat happening, I believe. Okay, yeah, there's a chat happening. Make sure I have that open so I can see that. So
Did you find it?
Yeah, someone says that they struggle with achievements. That's something that a lot of people struggle with, actually. Someone else said that regarding to not copying and pasting on your resume, do you have examples of what to add instead? Yes. So I could actually give you one that's on my actual profile. By me being an accountant for a municipal institution, one of the things that I am able to really talk about, like I said, I have an accounting background. I handle multiple water department accounts for my job. And what happens is the volume of invoices that I handle is actually impressive to people who would look to hire me. So what I do is I quantify actually how many invoices am I processing, what actually goes into that process, like who I'm talking to, because of course, like I said, I'm in accounting, but I talk to legal, and I also talk to people at the city of Chicago to actually mitigate these things that I have to deal with within the invoicing. So those type of things stand out. Everyone doesn't get a chance to communicate with their legal department. Everyone's not able to handle over 1,500 accounts at one time. So that's the type of thing that you want to put on your resume, not your resume, in your experiences, that's going to make you stand out from the crowd. So I hope that helps. You let me know if that helped you, but I hope that helps, because you just want to make sure that you have things there that's going to make you stand out, not the status quo, like, I do account reconciliations. You don't want to do that. You want to really go in depth what it is that you're doing and how you do it. So back here.
I'm sorry, Michelle. I have one question. I'm sorry to interrupt. So going back to the question that the student had about not copy and pasting. So what's the difference of what the resume would look like to what the experience on your LinkedIn would be like? So in the LinkedIn, that's when you would go into a little bit of the detail about the invoices, right? So what would that look like on the resume? Do you understand my question?
Yeah, so let me clarify. So actually, your resume would have more depth to it. However, the LinkedIn is where you want to have your quantities. You want to have the different, like the listings of the descriptions of the actual people or things that you're doing. You don't want to crowd it with like actual duties. You want to crowd it with like I said, the things that stand out. So the resume wouldn't look that different. Only thing is, you're over there, you will probably put the type of program that you utilize in that body. You would probably put how many invoices, in regards to my example, how many invoices am I dealing with on a weekly or day-to-day basis, that type of thing. But over on LinkedIn, you want it to just be kind of like a snippet of that information, like a snapshot of it, if that makes sense.
Okay, definitely. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So the about section here, I made sure that I included what I do as a career coach as well as an accountant. So mine is a little different from what the traditional about section would be, but I wanted you guys to be able to see that this is how you really go about making sure that people understand understand who you are. Like I said, the about section is where you go in a little more in depth and kind of make those connections that you wouldn't be able to do in your experience section. So here I tied in that I do accounting. I have my specialty here, which is accounts payable. I show that I have a history with nonprofit organizations. And then I get into my career coaching career, where I have 5-figure salary increases. I have basically a little bit about everything: the podcast, how I volunteer with other nonprofits to help with their programs and things like that. And I added in a little hobby there, which is I enjoy reading, because again, this is the type of stuff that would connect you to someone else who's reading this type of information. LinkedIn used to be very, very stuffy, where you would be afraid to kind of put in stuff about yourself, but over the years, I've seen it get really laid back. It's still professional, don't get me wrong, but it's laid back to the point where people are adding in that they like to go fishing, or they, in their spare time, they are able to do this and that. Like they are really getting creative with what they put in their about section, because again, this is what connects you to other people. Like I summed it up here, where a great summary is equivalent to a resume profile on steroids. So on a resume profile, you're going to make sure you list some good information, but you're not really going in depth about it. This about section allows you get so many characters, where you could write out a whole story about yourself if you wanted to. Just make sure it's compelling and that you capture all the good points about yourself that you would want someone in an organization to know about you. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so I made sure that I wrote here that you establish your brand narrative. Your brand narrative is basically, like I said, that one thing that you want to make sure that they understand about you. Are you a great receptionist? Are you a great accountant? Are you a great, whoever you claim to be? You want to make sure that this solidifies that, okay? Let me see if we have any more before I move on. Okay, nothing else in the chat. Any questions so far, you guys? Okay, good. Okay, so over here, let's see. Okay, now I can only see you, Isabel. So create a track record. So here I put, use the platform to build your reputation and credibility. This is the meat of your LinkedIn profile. Like, yes, all the other stuff really matters, but having endorsements, recommendations, or network backing is what's going to really separate you from the rest of the pack. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. LinkedIn is one of those things, because I deal with so many other things. LinkedIn is on the back burner for me, because, and that sounds crazy because I'm a career coach, but what happens is I get a lot of traction from Facebook and Instagram. So LinkedIn is kind of like my last platform that I really go and update. However, since COVID-19 was announced, I made the very smart decision of making sure that my profile was up to date, and that I was really engaged, making sure that I was engaging and doing what I needed to do to get my profile visible. So I have a few endorsements here. And endorsements basically comes from people you've worked with. It could be someone who doesn't even know you, actually, but they have either heard or seen you do a particular skill that they can actually say, yeah, she's good at this. It actually asks you, like, is this person highly skilled at it? Is this person okay at it? Like, it has a range of different things you can say. See here, like it says here, this is one of my coworkers, actually. It says he's highly skilled at this, and I'm guessing they're talking about accounting, because that's what he does. But yes, you want to get endorsements, because endorsements just basically seal the deal. That's your form of referral on LinkedIn. Endorsements let people know that someone else can vouch for your skills. So if you need references, 9 times out of 10, the people who has endorsed you are probably good prospects to be references for you. And then here is the recommendations section, where this is the holy grail. The holy grail of LinkedIn lives in recommendations. So many people have profiles that have absolutely no recommendations, and that's okay. But I want you to think about it in this sense, right? if I'm if I'm an employer during COVID-19, only thing I really have going for me right now with finding a great recruit is LinkedIn and whatever other research mechanisms that I might have in place, right? So if I could go in and immediately see this type of stuff on someone's profile, if I could see someone actually go in depth about why they're recommending this person for a certain skill or about something that they've done for them, that makes my job so much easier. That makes my job 90% easier than me going to search and look for different things on this person's behalf. I could just come in and see what other people are talking about this person. So for me, as of recently, most of my recommendations have come from resume writing, and that's great because that's the part of my career I'm really exploring and really growing at the moment. So I have a healthcare professional and I have someone who works for Chicago Public Schools who updated my profile, well, not updated my profile, but gave me a good recommendation. So if someone else was to come on my page and were kind of unsure of my skill or how much experience I have at what I do, they don't have to just take my word for it. They could look here in my recommendation section and see this. So I wanted to tell you guys how to kind of go about doing this because, like I said, now we are dealing with a lot of different things, a lot of different moving parts with COVID-19. The best way to garner a recommendation is to first give one. That's the easiest way to get a recommendation. If you give a recommendation, that person feels like I owe you one. So they're more likely to give you a recommendation in return. The other way is to actually ask them. You could just ask a person, hey, would you mind writing a recommendation for me? And they probably will. But the other side of that is, like I said, we're really busy, right? So they might not have the time to really think about what to put in the recommendation. They might not even know what to put in the recommendation. So you could actually make, when you ask them for it, you can actually have a little section spelled out for them, what you want from them, what you want them to talk about, what you want them to really touch on in the recommendation. And that will give them a great starting point in actually writing it. And they'll be more likely that they will actually write it as well because people have a lot going on. So any questions about that process, about how to really build your reputation on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I have a question. So you said that we could kind of let them know what they want to touch on. What would that look like? Just kind of an example of, let's say I'm asking Gina for a recommendation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what do you mean by like that? Like what would I tell her to write about?
So
Like, am I going to tell her word for word, or I don't know?
I mean, that's an actual possibility. So what you can do with that, I'm glad you mentioned that. What you could do with that is actually write a snippet for her and tell her that she can add or take from as she sees fit. Again, whatever makes someone's life easiest, makes it easier for them, they're more compelled to do it. So if you write out a recommendation of what you want her to say and let her know, hey, I'm not telling you to say this, I'm just giving you something to work with, then she's more likely to add that recommendation as well. But as far as knowing what you want them to put in that recommendation, it all depends on what you're trying to do in your career. So I would say use the job description. That's always I say the job description is the cheat code for job seekers. So when you are evaluating your job description, there's a qualifications requirement. So for a fact that they are looking for these things in the next employee. So I always say the minimum qualifications are things that you want to make sure are met and they can see clear as day that you're minimally qualified. But those things that they prefer, there's always a preferred section. Those things that they prefer, that makes for a good recommendation. So say for instance, if I were applying to an accounting position and they preferred someone who had, I don't know, 5 years experience in accounting, right? So I would actually be very strategic about it and go to someone who, probably the first organization I ever worked for, find someone there who could actually vouch for me and show that I automatically have this experience because I worked with them 5 years ago as an accountant. It's all about strategy. And that's the thing, like, I want to make sure you guys understand it's just all strategy. It's not, we overthink it. We tend to overthink things, and it's super, super simple. It's just a matter of just seeing things from the recruiter's perspective. And that's what I'm hoping to really give you a little insight from, because these, like I said, this right here, creating a track record, that really makes their job easier. And it shows that you're actually interested in moving in your career. So did that help, Isabel?
Yes, it did. Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else have a question before we move on? Nope. Okay. Let's keep going. I have to keep moving the screen from side to side so I can see. So
Sorry,
here,
Michelle, I have a question that just came in my mind. What about can you include your own endorsements? Is that possible?
So what happens is you can actually, these are your skills. So you're actually putting on there what you're skilled at. So that's kind of your own endorsement, as in a way, you're automatically saying, like, this is what I'm skilled at. You can endorse yourself, but what happens is when people see that you've already outlined these skills on your page, this is how they would endorse you, because you've already said, these are the skills that I have. So once they see that you put on there, like, you're good with, I don't know, do you have some skills on your page?
Yeah, I do. Public speaking, event planning. Yeah.
Okay, so someone who's worked with you, they'll see that and they could just automatically press endorse. They'll endorse you, and now you have
Right.
the endorsements on your page because you said you're good at it, and now you have somebody else signing off saying you're good at it too. So that's
Awesome.
how that works.
Okay.
Alrighty. So developing your community and your network, which is super, super important. I have the same headline here because this is where you're gonna be able to build connections with people that you wouldn't normally be able to. I like to tell people, like I said, this is referring back to the dating process. You get to basically fill out so many different elements of what you would probably do. Like, you would have to do so many different steps to fill out a person. Just being on LinkedIn and clicking around a little bit, you wouldn't believe how much stuff you could find and how much stuff you could actually involve yourself in to make yourself look like a good person to be involved with, right? So, so I have here a couple of things that that's really good for doing that, which is the LinkedIn groups, composing articles, receiving career advice from other professionals through an enabled feature, and adding people, because for some reason people are always scared to add people they don't know. LinkedIn gives you an option to add a quick note, which lets you write in, like, why do you want to connect with them? Like, I did this a couple of weeks ago. I told you guys, once they announced COVID-19, I got busy on my own profile. So I added a couple of people, and I would just add a note like, hey, I saw that you used to work at this place. I used to too, and I think it would be great for us to connect and kind of catch up. So that type of thing. Like, I don't know about catching up, because if you don't know me, then you don't know me, but you know what I mean? Like, you want to add a little note that lets them know why you're trying to add them to your profile. So here I have a picture of an article that I wrote last year that did really well. This was my very first article, and I thought it did very well for it being my first article. I had 13 likes and there are 43 views of my article. And I want to say the reason why I look at it as a super, super amazing thing is because I was super intimidated to do this. And I want to encourage you guys to don't be intimidated. An article is literally you just establishing your voice, letting people know what you think. It could be, in this your writing style. You don't have to be an editor. You don't have to be someone who's really skilled at journalism or anything like that. It's just really giving you a voice to talk about things that's important to you. And it shows other people that you have some type of expertise or credibility behind what you say because you've given it much thought. So don't shy away from articles. Here's the career advice feature that I was just speaking of. If you enable this feature on your account, you can literally get advice from people who are far further along in their journey than you are. And that makes it much easier. I always say mentorship makes things so much more easier. And these people don't have to be your mentors, but if you can just think about it, you can ask anyone a question. Like, I would like to, there's a certain career coach that I love, and I think her journey is amazing. I would love to be able to ask her, like, hey, how did you get started? What did you do? This, that, and the other. Like, I would really love to have that type of connection with her. And if she enabled LinkedIn to, give her that platform where she can administer advice, I probably will see her in that column of people who is giving advice, and that would be great for me. So always, 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 I encourage everyone to enable that feature, because you just never know who will show up in that column as a person that you can get advice from. We have someone here. If you're trying to add someone you don't know and they add you back, how would you recommend getting in touch with them? Do you have to schedule an informational meeting, or could you simply interact with each other's posts? So I don't know if you know this, but LinkedIn has a direct messaging feature. It's just like Facebook, Instagram, or anything else. You can actually chat with them on the platform. So you wouldn't have to really worry about getting in touch with them, because it's open. Their inbox is open to you. So if you wanted to schedule a meeting of some sort, you would probably establish it in those direct messages before you move off the platform, should I say, and then interact with each other post. Of course, you absolutely want to engage, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. You do want to engage with the people that you connect with on LinkedIn. So anyone has questions right now? I'm going to take a quick sip of water. No questions, no questions. Okay. So the other side of that, I put a note here because I want to make sure I tell you guys this. Do not people collect. And what I mean by that is, don't just add people just because. Like, you want to have intention behind the people that you actually add to your profile. So I know how tempting it could be to like boost your numbers, like, oh, this person wanted to add me. Okay, why? You want to be very intentional with the people that you add, because say for instance, if I was a horrible employee and now you're connected to me, you're like, oh yeah, this is my friend, and that you're engaging with me on a daily basis on LinkedIn. What happens is they can see that activity there, and the saying, birds of a feather flock together. So they might have some judgment about you because you're engaging with someone who doesn't really have that good of a reputation as a professional. So don't people collect. Be very intentional about the people you connect with, and the people that you add to your network, period. Not even just LinkedIn, but in general. So the routine engagement, let's spell this out, because this is the most important part. This is what's going to put you at the forefront of the LinkedIn searches that recruiters conduct. So LinkedIn is a platform that allows you to thrive based on the amount of time and thought you put into it. So unlike Facebook, unlike Instagram, you have to engage on LinkedIn, or else you basically just get faded into the background. No one even knows you're there. So as I just mentioned, the activity is shown on your page. So if I go on your page, it's going to allow me to see everything you've done as far as liking, sharing, commenting. I can see all of that. So with that being said, if you're making it your business to get on LinkedIn daily or even just weekly, and you're doing some type of engagement, it will position your profile much better than someone who doesn't get on there at all. So I have here the type of things that you can do, which, like I said, which posts. So posts are where you would actually get on like a Facebook status update. You would type in something, you can attach a picture, you can attach an article, whatever you want. And it allows people to see everything about it. So I put here at the bottom, actually a post that I posted this morning. Like I said, everything is in real time so that you guys can really relate and see what I mean. So this was my post from this morning. And as you can see, I probably know maybe 2 of these people that that like this comment. But the thing is, well, like this update. But the thing is, what happens when people like it, it shows up in their timeline as well. So it's kind of like, I like to think of it as a web. So if you like a comment, right, it goes into your timeline. And say, for instance, someone that's not connected to me but connected to you likes it, then it goes into their timeline, and it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. So that's how you get visibility, by creating posts that are relatable and that are really, like I said, you have to give it thought. It has to be something that's gonna garner someone's attention. So just think about that web. Whenever you make a post, you want to think about the web. And that's with any of these, as far as your shares or your comments. You want to think about how likable, how relatable it is to someone else that's on your page. So shares. You want to share information relevant to your industry, include a short description of what it is to show what you found interesting and what and why you're sharing it. So a couple of weeks ago, I shared a post about a school doing like a, they had like, they were giving, this was before COVID-19 actually happened. They had suits and different stuff being donated to them that they were offering to their students who were going out on interviews but didn't have money to get clothes or things like that. And I shared it because I'm like, oh, this is great. This is amazing, you know? So I shared that, and it garnered a whole lot of reshares, a whole lot of likes, a whole lot of comments. And that's the type of thing you want. You want to make sure that you are sharing things that are relevant and that make sense to your brand. So for me, as a career coach, I'm amazed with things like that. I think that's great. I think that's wonderful that they established such a program, and I'm pretty sure most people would agree with me. So that in turn allows that post to get those likes and get those comments that's gonna put me in the timeline of people that I'm not even connected to. So I want you to keep that type of thing in mind. So comments, thoughtful comments that provoke conversation and maybe even sparks the interest of people to connect. So I'm gonna ask a question, and I want everybody to be very, very honest, right? So who's ever, because I know I can be very honest, I do it all the time. Who's went on a page before and saw a really good post and all you did was comment, great post, or good job, or something super simple like that? Has anyone ever done that before?
Yeah, I have. I've done it.
Yeah, so it's super common for me to do on Instagram because it's quick and it just shows that I'm acknowledging what you've done. But on LinkedIn it's different. I do not advise that at all. You have to really think about what you want to write and make sure that it, like I said, it's relatable to the topic at hand. Saying great job doesn't show any value. It doesn't show that you actually even read what they were talking about. You know what I mean? So you want to give some insight of what you found good about the conversation. I did this a couple, like I said, at the top of COVID-19 when it first happened. I spent a lot of time on LinkedIn, so that's what I'm going to be referring to for most of the workshop. I actually was able to get an editor's pick comment from commenting and being very not strategic, but just making sure that my vulnerability it was shown. And of course that made it very relatable to everyone else because everyone else was feeling the same way I was feeling, which was uneasy about COVID-19. So I got about 112 likes on that comment. And I thought that was amazing because that had never happened to me before. Even with all the knowledge that I have, that had never happened to me before. But it was really just making sure that I didn't post something that was like mechanical, like was generic. I posted my actual thoughts. I gave kind of what I thought would be a solution to the problem they were discussing in that article. And I commented that I did include that it was a great job on the behalf of the person who wrote the article. You can include that in there, but you want to give depth to why you think it's a great job. So that was something big for me. I made sure that I featured it on everywhere, that I had an editor's pick comment, and that type of thing could be very good for you if you're job searching. So just make sure you think through the type of stuff that you want to post on LinkedIn, because it can be very, very good for your networking and job search. So does anyone have any questions about that? No? Nope. Good. So yeah, that's something that, you know, I really, really want to make sure that we talked about. And now I believe this is the end of the PDF. So you guys, if you want to discuss anything that I didn't touch on, you're more than welcome to ask, and we could talk through it, because I know people have questions and probably don't know what to ask. So anything that we talked about as far as groups, articles, engagement, anything that you might have a question about, you can ask me. It sounds like someone unmuted their mic. Got a question? No, no one has questions. This was a lot of information. Let's see. We're gonna get interactive then, very interactive. Do I have any volunteers for an interactive exercise? Because
I actually have a question, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Gabriella. My question is more so on, I guess, like authenticity, like how real do you want to be on your LinkedIn, right? I feel like sometimes it's really difficult to figure out if you want to be really professional or if you want to be yourself. So what is some advice that you can provide as to how honest or how truthful to your actual self, right? Do you, write a bunch of exclamation marks, emojis? Do you even use emojis? So what are some of your thoughts on that?
Okay, good. This is a great question. So as I alluded to earlier, LinkedIn used to be very, very stuffy, where you would literally want to walk around on eggshells. But as of recently, it's calmed down. It's not as uptight as it used to be. So I would say that you can really, you can do yourself real justice by having your personality shine through your profile. So with me, you can use emojis. I don't suggest you use a whole lot of them, or like, it's not a Facebook post. Let's establish that it's not a Facebook post. You can be laid back, but it's not a Facebook post. You definitely want to make sure that you are, that you have a point to your post. So you can, for me, like a couple days ago, I posted my son. Nobody cares about my kid, but I made it very relevant to what I was talking about, which was how I had to utilize job strategy to really kind of navigate that point of time in my career. I had him he visited my old place of work. So it made sense to add that picture and show, like, yeah, this is intimacy. This is what establishes who I am and what I really stand for. Like, from that post, you probably would think like, oh, she's a great mom, or she really cares about her coworkers, or she really cares to network, that type of thing. So you don't want to overthink it, but you do want to make sure that there's a point to your authenticity. You don't want to just come off like, yeah, like you said, a bunch of exclamation points, and there's no reason for your exclamation points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That was really helpful. I do have another question. What are your thoughts on the basic LinkedIn and the pro version? And would that be something that you recommend? And if so, when would that be most appropriate?
I love premium, first of all. I feel like LinkedIn should give me an endorsement or some type of check for how much I push people to get premium, because premium allows you to see things that you just cannot see let me see something. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for just a second so that I can see if I could pull up my LinkedIn, because I actually have premium. And what happens is it gives you just a lot of insight on a prospective job or a prospective company, a prospective school, whatever it is that you're actually looking at. Let me see. I think I'm still logged into someone else's profile because I do update LinkedIn profiles as well, which is crazy. It's been really crazy as of late. Everyone has the same idea to update, and make sure you're positioned well. And I want to give you guys the same advice. Make sure you're positioned well during this time. Let's see here. I'm gonna just click on a job and share the screen with you so that you can see the features that's not on the basic one. And basically, if you're just starting out and you're like getting your first job or something like that, premium it really isn't going to be that beneficial to you because it does cost, and you're probably not going to have a lot of the things that are relevant. Let me see here. Okay, this is something that I could share. A lot of things that are relevant to someone who's like deep into their career already, maybe like 3 to 5 years, they probably would see a lot of benefits to seeing this type of information versus someone who's just getting started. So let me come out of here, and I'm super glad you asked this because I can really show you. Let me go. Okay. You guys can see my screen, right? Move this out my way. Okay, so here you see they give you skills that you have listed on your page, on your actual LinkedIn profile that matches up with what the actual employer is looking for. It gives you that. There's actually more to this, I guess. Okay, here we go. So it shows you how many people have applied, how many people applied recently, kind of what does that pool look like? So who are you really going up against? Where these people are located. It gives you a really, really good in-depth look to what you're going up against when you're in the job search. Oh yeah, guys, I have a dog, so if you hear her, don't be alarmed. She's been quiet for now, so hopefully she stays quiet, but I just heard her stir, so just a little, yeah, FYI in case you guys hear her. But yeah, so here, there's a lot of different things that premium is great. It has so many different features. You can see here the type of schools that the people that work in this company, where they've come from. You can see the companies they've worked for previously. You can see it's just a whole lot of insight that would be good for you if you are really, really working to like get promoted or really establish yourself well in this applicant pool. Like I said, I don't really think that it would make a big difference for someone who's just getting started. But if you're like in your second year of your career and you've really been doing all the great things that you should be doing to get your career on a good track. I'm just looking at this. I'm sorry, guys. I never seen this before. This is something new to me. That's why I kind of got. But yeah, if you're really trying to establish yourself and make sure that you stand out amongst the competition, premium is definitely for you. That's why I say senior positions, mid-level positions. If you're going for those type of positions, you definitely want to think about getting premium. Other than that, basic is really good too still, and it still gives you the same benefits that the premium does outside of getting that in-depth look at the different the pools that the different applications have. And then on top of that, while we are here, I want to talk about this too, this feature here, the learning feature. So a couple of years back, LinkedIn got lynda.com. And I don't know if you guys know what lynda.com is, but that's where you can learn just about anything in the world. And I'm going to click it so that you can see it. So premium comes with a subscription to this part of LinkedIn, which is the LinkedIn Learning. And you can go on here and find just about anything that you want to learn more about. And it will post on your profile. I'm going to show you guys my profile. It will post on your profile if you wanted to, that you actually took this course or you went through that course or however it goes, because there's certifications. They give you certificates for some of this stuff. So I'm glad you asked that question, because this is a feature on premium that you don't get with basic. I'm gonna go back to my profile so you can see what I mean about the endorsement, because that's an extra endorsement as well. The LinkedIn Learning feature lets you show that you've taken these different courses, and people, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm always excited about people who continue to further their knowledge and their career and everything by any means necessary. So here in the past couple of weeks since I've been at home, this is the type of things that I've been looking at, and it goes right onto my LinkedIn profile, and people can see it. Like, they see what I've been interested in. They see that some of these things did give me a credential. Like you can see here, it says C credential. I think, let's see here. I think there was a credential for this one. So let's look at that. It's just a lot of amazing features with LinkedIn that a lot of people don't know about. And I'm just glad you guys are here to learn more about it, because it's really gonna set you aside from, well, yeah, here. This is how you download the certification, and you'll have these documents to show in your job search. Like, say, for instance, if you do have an interview, you can present this and show to someone that you actually have a LinkedIn endorsed skill. So I'm glad you asked that. So I don't know if that really helped. Did that help
Yeah,
you?
that was really helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
And I do have one last question,
Go ahead.
and more so, hopefully this helps out like the students and alumni that are joining us today. But typically, how much does it kind of cost for someone to get this kind of like service, or help revamping their their resume or their LinkedIn profile? The reason I ask is because obviously we have Gina here, and she's amazing, and she has a lot of resources and help that she can provide to our students. And so I'm just kind of more so wondering if you can kind of like share what the typical cost is, so that hopefully that encourages our students to use our services a bit more.
Yes. Free services. First of all, you guys, please, 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 please use your resources, because a lot of people don't do that. I was one of those people who didn't do that. I didn't take advantage of the career development center of my school, and I had to pay for it. I was learning from other people, and I just bought a course the other day because, like I said, I'm always trying to perfect my craft. So I paid $50 for a master class on just learning the different strategies of helping people who are staying at home. But typically speaking, a resume rewrite can cost you anywhere from $65 to $125, $150. So, and that's just typical. That's for an early career. I've seen things as much as for people who are like mid-level, senior level employees have to pay $300 and $400. C-suite people are paying thousands of dollars to have people update their resume because they are playing a different ball game. So what you really are considering when you're thinking about paying for a resume service is, what are you looking to get from it? So say, for instance, if this is a C-suite person, you know for a fact that they're not applying to a position that's going to give them a $10,000 raise. They're applying to a position that's likely going to give them upwards of a $10,000 raise, on top of a couple of perks like more vacation and more time, and maybe a flex schedule, that type of thing. So their return on their investment is completely different from someone who would be just entering the job market. When you go in, you're not going to be looking at those type of benefits. You're looking to establish yourself. So therefore, your return on investment will probably be maybe $10,000, $15,000 if you're coming from a basic position. I would say maybe like a retail position or something. You're probably looking at maybe $10,000 to $20,000 of a raise. So what you would probably likely pay is up to $150 for a rewrite of your resume. So if you have the resources where you could get this type of stuff done for free, you really want to take advantage of it, because it's not getting any cheaper, especially with the situation that we're in right now. because there's a ton of people who are looking to get their resumes rewritten right now, looking to elevate their presence on LinkedIn. So the market for this type of stuff is booming, because as the unemployment rate, soars, people are, one, becoming more intimidated as far as their actual situation. If they're not laid off, they're contemplating, like, what if, how would I react? Like, am I ready for a new job search if this is something that I have to deal with, So people are really, they're really vetting these types of services. And thankfully, I'm not one of those people. I'm not an opportunist. I don't make my pricing according to the volume of people that are available. But there are opportunists out there who are taking advantage of this situation for their profit. So if you're able to get this resource for free, please, please, please utilize it. I just saw the chat feature go off. I'm trying to figure out, where did it go? Someone had
It was just me, Michelle.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just letting them know how they can contact me if they do want to schedule an appointment. I appreciate you mentioning that, Gabriela, because I think a lot of students don't know about the services that we provide at Morton College, and the fact that you're mentioning, the cost and that they could potentially get this for free directly from us is huge. So I hope that today, the word can get spread around that Career Services is open and that they can contact me and schedule an appointment.
Yeah, and Gina she's really enthused about helping you guys. So if there's anyone that you want to work with, you want to work with someone who actually has your best interest at heart. And I can really say Gina, she knows what she's talking about, and she really wants to do what's best for you guys. So if you can, like she said, if you need to contact her, because we don't know what the outcome is going to be for the overall job market after COVID-19 passes. If it passes, I don't know what's happening at this point, but you just want to make sure that you're properly positioned and that all your business is taken care of. So if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, I encourage you to go on today and get established. You don't even have to do a whole lot. You just list out the different things, and you could come back and add the depth to your profile, but at least get your profile, after listening to this, get your profile established, and just get a feel for the platform so that you can see the things that I've shown you in action on the actual platform. And Gina, was that you with another comment, or did someone else leave a comment?
It was just a student asking if they would be able to get help if they're already a graduate. And yes, the services are offered to current students, alumni students, and even our community, our whole community membership. So anyone can reach out to me and we can definitely schedule something.
Yep. So
I have a question for you, Michelle.
Go ahead.
What sort of advice would you give students, that want to look for work, but that are afraid of virtual interviewing? What sort of things would you, share with them that they should keep in mind so that they're not so afraid of it?
So the first thing first, virtual interviewing is no different from what we're doing right now. It's usually going to be conducted on either a Zoom call, a Skype call, or something of that nature. So it's going to be no different from this, first and foremost. Like, this is the type of platforms that people are using to conduct the virtual interviews. So you already know what you're getting yourself into. It's going to be literally you just talking to a computer and trying to capture the attention of the other person on the other side of the screen. So I would tell you, one of my top tips is to just make sure that your technology is together, first and foremost. You don't want to get on the call and not have your sound correct, or your something's happening in the background. Like, you want to make sure that you establish yourself, and that you know that this thing is going to work out for you. You want to have, like me right now, I'm going to just show you guys, have your notes handy. You don't have to be intimidated about this isn't a traditional interview, so you don't have to be intimidated about looking at your notes, because they can't see your notes. Your notes are right there at hand. If you get nervous, or if you think you're losing track of what you need to say, you have something there that's going to keep you on track and make sure that you touch on the things you actually plan to touch on in your interview. You want to practice your interviewing practice the stories that you have, that's going to help you really connect yourself to that position. You want to just make sure that you filled out everything that you can beforehand. So if you know who the person is that's going to interview you, it's probably a good idea to go over to LinkedIn and see if they have a page, or just do a search on the company page to get to know some things about the company so that you can have some talking points. Because if you were here earlier, you'll see that we were kind of just talking about what we had going on, not really, you know, discussing anything too heavy, but having casual conversation, because that's just what's likely at this time. We're all dealing with the same thing. So more than likely, you're going to have to establish a rapport with this person before the interview even starts. So with that in mind, you want to have some talking points in mind as well. But yeah, I have a lot of different resources as far as virtual interviewing. I have a Instagram page, and I also have a blog on my personal website where I've been giving different tips and things that's going to help you during COVID-19. So if you guys will want to know more about virtual interviewing, or even how, because like I said, my most recent client hire, he had 6 virtual interviews. So if you guys will want to know more about that, I actually did a video on Instagram, IGTV, where I kind of went through the steps that we took to really properly prepare him for that. So my IG handle is RBG Royalty. And then my website is rbgroyalty.org. And you could go check out the blog over there. But I'm glad you asked that, Gina, because it's something that a lot of people are camera shy, and they don't really know what to do once they get on camera. They don't know exactly how to go ahead with this. And I just want you guys to know that it's no different than having an in-person interview, except you have more of an advantage. If you think of it that way, you'll do just fine. These notes will save you. So just properly prepare yourself and you'll be fine with virtually interviewing.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're
Do you
welcome.
mind just putting on the chat your both of those sites you mentioned?
Sure. Let's see if I can find it again. It keeps disappearing on my end.
Well, Michelle is typing that up. Does anyone else have any other questions?
I actually do have a question. So earlier we were talking about LinkedIn posts. So I'm always hesitant to post things on LinkedIn just because I don't really know what to write about. Is there anything that you would recommend, that the type of content that we create on LinkedIn? I know generally like it's more so what you're interested in. So is there any specific way to go about posting certain things on LinkedIn?
Actually, so I'm actually in the midst of developing a engagement calendar for my community for LinkedIn, because like I said, I really feel like LinkedIn is one of those tools that you must use during this time. And I would say it's just really knowing what it is you want to talk about. I don't know if I have it. I have it up here. I'm going to show you guys. This is something that people are paying me for. So you guys get to see this for free. And so by all means, if you need to take note on it, go ahead and do so. I'm going to share the screen again so that you can see the calendar that I've made. I'm still developing it right now, but for the most part, you'll be able to see exactly what I mean here. So let me go ahead. You can see the Excel spreadsheet, right?
Yes,
You guys can see
yes,
that?
we
Okay.
can.
Okay. So I like to tell people LinkedIn, like I said, is not stuffy anymore. So you can talk about a range of things. So here I have where you're welcoming new connections. These color blocks are basically different topics that I'm suggesting for people to use to actually develop their post. So here on Saturdays, I don't like to really be technical on the weekend. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm not that person. On the weekend, I'm kind of just, in the mindset of relaxing and being cool, but I also am very intentional still. So I like to share things on the weekend because I don't want to give it a lot of thought, just something quick that I could really post and, give you a little feedback on. Throughout the week, like today, an affirmation is good, something that's going to get people in a good mood about starting the week. Tuesday could be a personal career story, something relatable that allows people to understand you on a personable level, but also kind of identifies you as, you know, the professional that you want to be identified as. Here, a lesson learned, and you can invite discussion. I always tell people when you have these types of posts, put a question at the end because people are more inclined to respond and give you some type of engagement on your post. Here I have a current event that interests you. You could share something, or you could even just talk about it if you want, but that's grounds for making a post. A career win of the week. Maybe you got all your tasks done for the week and you want to talk about it on LinkedIn. That's something that people are really extremely happy to see, actually, because working from home has been difficult for a lot of people. So that's something relatable. Here you have quotes. It's just a lot of different things you can actually post about, so to speak. It's just a matter of making sure that you, like I said, you tie it to something that's about your professional brand, that's gonna establish your narrative. If you want to be known for being a great accountant, then you're going to talk about some things, maybe something even funny, because a lot, what I've seen a lot lately, because everyone's in this weird space, people are making a lot of jokes on LinkedIn, and it gets a lot of traction because everyone's kind of just uptight and don't really know what to do or say at this moment. But making light of a situation will always get you further as well. So just keep in mind your brand narrative, your personality, and what you're actually talking about in the post, and you'll be fine. Any other questions? Oh, and did that answer your question? Was that good for you?
Yeah, that answered my question. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anyone else? Anyone else? It's been great talking to you, by the way.
For the, I just had a quick question that I was noticing. Is this an outline that you created on your Excel sheet, or did you was that on LinkedIn first?
No, that's mine. That's actually a product that I'm selling as of right now. So it's a part of an actual, what I'm calling is the career organizer, the Royal Career Organizer. So basically it's helping people to really get acquainted with the things that it takes to go forward with their job search right now. So keeping track of, you know, your network and different things like that. It's going to be all in this one Excel spreadsheet. And the LinkedIn engagement calendar was really to encourage people to use LinkedIn because it is an intimidating platform to most people. So I was hoping that, you know, establishing that calendar and giving them kind of topics that they could go ahead and build off of, that they will go ahead and start posting and getting active on the actual platform.
No, that's very engaging. I want to try it. I'm making my account as we speak right now.
That's great. That's great. Anyone else have a question? Okay. If not, you guys, I put in the comments my information where you can find me. I'm always on Instagram. I'm always on Instagram is my favorite platform at the moment. So I'm always on Instagram. If you want to find me, you're probably going to see some different things over there that's gonna make you be like, oh, this girl is pretty cool, and I'll probably ask her a question. So connect with me on Instagram. I'm always there, and I'm probably real time able to respond to you on LinkedIn as well. The same has been happening because, like I told you guys, I'm really getting engaged on LinkedIn. You can add me there. In case you missed my name, I'm gonna put it in the chat as well so that you can connect with me on LinkedIn. By all means, you guys could, like I said, ask me anything you would want to know, and I will try my best to get back to you and answer your questions, because I do know how important this is. And like I said, I didn't take advantage of these type of opportunities in college because I was busy working and I thought that other things took priority. But when you have these type of resources at your fingertips, you really want to utilize them and make sure that you're positioning yourself correctly, because I didn't have a network going into accounting. I just had the people who I worked with at the current time. and I didn't really build that network that would probably position me better when I first started. So now that you have this opportunity, I really, really hope that you take advantage of it. And I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Gina if she has anything else she would want to add to this.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. I really do appreciate you taking out the time to talk with our students and some other staff members that joined us today. With regards to the PDF deliverable manual that you mentioned, how can students get that?
So I don't know if you guys, because I was going to send it to you, but I
Okay.
don't know if anyone else wants to. I have a couple of different LinkedIn things, and I don't mind giving those tools to you guys because, again, I know how weird it is right now and how intimidating LinkedIn can be to someone who doesn't have a lot of, you know, you don't have a lot of education on it. So I have multiple different things. I can send the PDF that we just went through. I'm sending that to you for sure. And also I can send, I have a ebook that I did last year. I can send that actual, that section from that book to you guys as well. And Gina you could post it to your site, you could post it, give it to the students personally. I don't really have a preference of however you decide to do it. It's up to you. But
Okay.
Distributing it to whoever is fine by me because this is something that's very necessary.
Okay, sounds great. I think what I'll do is go ahead and post it on our website. So for everyone who's here today, if you just go on our morton.edu and go under career services, you'll be able to find it there hopefully by this afternoon.
Okay. Oh, you're welcome, Isabel. So
Thank you so much, Michelle, for your time again. And we really do appreciate all your insight.
You're welcome. You're welcome anytime. So like I said, you guys, you know where to find me. So that's it. You guys have a great day. Stay safe. Keep washing your hands and stay positive about everything that we have going on. And I will hopefully maybe talk to you guys again one day. So see you guys later and take care.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.